14th, 2021. And I have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes, I understand the planning portions of this, John, will come before the planning board at some time.
Both this ordinance and the next ordinance will be referred to the planning board for their consideration and then back to the township
So
committee.
any desires insofar as much as egress and ingress into the property and things like that would be discussed and worked out at the planning board level?
No, that won't be discussed. What the planning board will discuss is it consistent with the master plan? It's just consistency review.
But at site application, those are
At
items.
site plan
That's the
down the
site
road.
plan application.
Yeah, that's right. All that stuff gets,
I have some concerns about how they're gonna get in and out of there, how
Right.
they're gonna get,
Right.
basically,
yeah, this
streets are
ordinance,
gonna use, I mean, there's just a lot.
this ordinance doesn't establish any of that. This ordinance sets the table, just like any other zoning ordinance would. The applicant would still have to come before the planning board, show how they're going to get in and out of the site, where stormwater will be, how much parking there's going to be, where they're going to put the parking. All that stuff will be at site plan.
Okay. With that, I'll vote yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yeah, so just, I had a question about that as well. So also what that would mean, John, is entrance into this area and that type of thing could also be discussed at a later point. That's not what we're discussing now. This is merely to set the zone.
That is correct.
Okay, very good. Then I will vote yes as well.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Ordinance 2021-14, authorizing and encouraging electric vehicle supply, service equipment, and make-ready parking spaces. This is the first reading and introduction. The public hearing and final adoption would be December 14th, 2021. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second that motion?
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Consent agenda resolutions. This is resolutions 2021-131-11, 2021-132-11, 133, 134, and 135-11. Do I have a motion and a second?
I motion to accept?
I'll second.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2021-136-11, authorizing the purchase of playground and park equipment for the municipal playground and park. I have a motion and a second.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2021-137-11, authorizing the purchase of poured-in-place safety surface material for the municipal playground and park. I have a motion and a second.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Resolution 2021-138-11, amending the adopted budget for additional item of revenue and offsetting appropriation, Chapter 159. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Montgomery? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Oh,
Klaus?
sorry. Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yeah, actually, I appreciate your calling me first. Bruce Levinson and I talked about this when we ran, about how we wanted to upgrade the playgrounds and the safety of it and everything. So we're real happy that all these things are going through. So that's a yes.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Business licenses. We have a couple of business licenses to approve. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve the business licenses?
I'll second. Oh.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Yes.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. At this point in time, we're open for comments from the public. Is there anyone in the audience? Yes, Ms. Evans?
Hi, Anna Evans, 63 Parry Drive still.
Lorena.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate Commissioner Jerry Klaus on winning another 3-year term.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was an interesting election. I think we matched our desires to stay civil, I think, on the whole part. I want to talk briefly about the ordinance with the rezoning. I know you don't want to talk about the ingress and the egress right now. I don't know whether anyone else is going to bring it up. I personally have extreme reservations about the traffic that this will add going in and out under the low railway bridge. Okay, and I just would really hope that near the time some attention will be paid to that. But my main issue personally with the rezoning, I don't live anywhere near this, is that I don't think it's in the spirit of what affordable housing is meant to be. What we should have been doing is putting a small amount of affordable housing in every development that we have put up since the Mount Laurel Doctrine, because the purpose of affordable housing is to integrate lower income families into our community. And I don't believe that that is going to be solved by putting a 3-story, 72-unit apartment building in an out-of-the-way corner of Hainesport. I don't even believe that there is affordable housing in the development that is currently going up at the bottom of Creek View, right? There should be. There should have been some of that everywhere. That you yourself, Mayor, live in an area where affordable housing was done right. You have Tartan Lane, right? Nobody thinks of it as anything other than part of your community, part of your development. That is how affordable housing should be. And I fear that we are not standing up to the spirit of what affordable housing is supposed to represent in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Kitty?
Catherine McNally, 407 Bischoff Avenue. I just have a question about the box that I had out in the foyer for the troops. Who is so against it? Why it can't be kept out there? At first, I had a cardboard box, and we collected items to send over to Afghanistan and Iraq and all over the place. We used to send 50, 60, 70 items in a box. And we did it for years. Then when the troops mostly came back, we started taking care of our veterans. So I take this stuff that comes in the box to Veterans Haven in Winslow Township. The box was taken out. When I asked about it, I was told it was taken out because the floor was being replaced. I said, oh, okay, then you're going to bring it back? No, I didn't say that. What did you say?
Mayor?
Please.
So we did put it back there as we discussed during the election.
The what?
We put it back out in the foyer as we had discussed on Election Day.
Yeah?
But we have had not a single person come into the building requesting to put any items in that box. If we do, we will take the items and we will put it in the box. We do have it in this back room, but we are truly trying to declutter that area.
No, it's there.
Well, they come in, and just
And
like
when
with
I come
the
in,
shoe
during the election-
donation, people have come in to donate shoes, they'll ask, where's the box for that? Or the Cans of Hope donation, they'll come in and ask for that. Or even the animal shelter donations, and we direct them to that appropriate area. We don't have those boxes in the foyer anymore. We do the animal shelter in the construction office. We do the shoe collection. Actually, I don't believe that we do that anymore, but when we did, that was also given to one of our employees. But when people come in and want to make a donation to the veterans, we will take that donation and we'll put it in the box.
Well, the first box I had out there was cardboard, and it was falling apart. And Bruce made this one for me. And it's very attractive, and everybody says it looks very nice. And when I came in here on Election Day to put a list of items that we were looking for, somebody had taken the basket off the side of the box where I would have put those lists. So nobody has any idea what we're even collecting.
I think it fell
So
to the
why
bottom
would they
of
bring
that.
anything?
It fell to the bottom, but no one has come in to offer to put any donations in there. If they do, we will happily put the box back out on the foyer.
Great. Okay, my next problem. The street building. We have been given that building for the senior citizens for many years, probably 19, 20 years we've been there. We started out with a whole kitchen. We started out with 3 closets. Now we're down to half a closet. And not only did they clean out a lot of our stuff and smash all of it all together, they decided to throw our silverware away. Well, I know I heard on the TV that they were going to stop plastic utensils. And when I heard it, I thought, how the heck are they ever going to do that? But then the COVID came, and that changed, just like straws. That changed too. But now they're going back to stopping the straws. And eventually, I'm sure they're going to get to the silverware. So I'm just wondering, who's going to replace our silverware, the township or Donna Casey? You said it was very dirty?
Yes.
Well, we haven't used it in 2 years because of this epidemic.
You also don't have a commercial dishwasher over there.
Was it so bad that it couldn't be cleaned? Couldn't have been washed?
It had been laying on the counter. Even you said that you were
Stainless
picking-
steel?
It was so bad.
You know what? Donna needed a drawer. That's all there is to it.
Well,
Donna needed a drawer.
you do have paper products and plastic products over there. Everything's been organized where
Listen.
you can now find them.
I told her, call me when you're ready, and we'll go in there, and we'll go in those closets, and we'll see what we don't need, and see what's bad, good, whatever. Nobody called me.
No.
Nobody.
And Tish was there.
And then
Representing.
she informs me that on October the 28th, which was our meeting day, that we weren't going to have a meeting because the first responders were coming.
But you did have the meeting.
Well, we did only because I complained to you about it. If I didn't call you, according to Donna, we weren't allowed to have a meeting. Who the heck is she?
Well, that's not what she told me. She told me that she had,
She needed the whole day so she could decorate? Come on, give me a break. If we didn't have our meeting that day,
you
and
did
now
have
we
your meeting.
can't have it on the 11th.
You did have your meeting that day.
If we
The
didn't,
11th is Veterans Day.
if we didn't, and we didn't have it on the 11th, which is coming, we wouldn't have had a meeting until December. I feel like we're being treated like second-class citizens. I happen to live in this township and pay taxes here longer than most of you people were even born. 66 years I've been here. And this is how we get treated. You just throw our stuff away and do anything you want. We should count just as much as everybody else. And when I call up you, Paula, I would really appreciate if you would call me back.
But Kitty,
I mean-
it is the street community center. It's not the senior center. And it
It's
is
a
used
community,
by.
I understand
Okay,
that.
Okay.
I understand that. But when you have stuff that you've been using for 20 years, and all of a sudden, whew, I mean, first of all, we had to put up with all the chairs in our closet, so we couldn't get in there, because Donna doesn't like the chairs leaning on the wall. Come on. Everything, I mean, it's just ridiculous. And a lot of the other seniors are very upset about it, but I told them, don't even try to come, because they have a real hard time driving at night. So I said, I'm not going to have a whole bunch of seniors here screaming and hollering like you did with the sidewalks. But I do think that we should get a little help around here and get a little more caring about us. There's a lot of senior citizens in this township. You're all going to be them there if you're not already.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kitty.
Anyone else in the room? Yes, sir, Mr. Murdy.
Good evening. My name is Mark Murdy, 2614 Creek Road, Hainesport, New Jersey. I only have a little bit on all 3 of these. So, well, the second one anyway. The ordinance to know here on Lot 1.06, Block 140, again, it would really nice to know where the street address was so everybody can see what it is other than just numbers, just like it is down the next one down where it says, we're going to tag the people located at 6 Applewood Court. I already talked about that. That should be taken care of. Next thing is you were talking about ingress and egress in that area. That's about the worst area in the world. If you'd like, when you go by there the next time, look to the right-hand side just before you get to Martin Highway. There's only one top of a small school bus, the short buses that went through there. It's laying on the ground because that's the vent, the emergency vent that goes on the bottom, on the top of the bus. There were 3 of them there about a month ago, and they picked up 2 of them. I guess they must have been the one they probably could have recycled again. Also, on this introduction of public hearing and final adoption, are the public going to have a chance to vote on this, or is it just going to be whatever you guys decide?
Well, it's a public hearing where people can speak with regards to it, but it is the township committee that votes on it.
Okay, well, I think it's a really piss poor idea, excuse me for that, but there's no way to get in easy or out of there. It's a fire hazard should anything happen. It's also, you got a lot of people trying to get in. You're not going to be able to get an ambulance in there because it's have to take longer to get there. So that's just really dumb in the first place. Also, if you go down Martin Highway, just before whatever is turning off to Rutgers there, you look on the right, they're building some massive, it's 500 units in there. And I know everybody wants to have low-income housing. When I was young and before I had a family, I had to get a house. My house was $75 a month. I had a job that was paying $1.25 an hour. I paid for that house. I did it myself. I know everything's gone higher now. The wages have also gone higher. The prices have also gone higher. But everything's in moderation. I would love to live in a beautiful community where everybody has wonderful homes like, oh, where can we say? Anywhere. Where the home prices are $450,000, $500,000, and put my little shed right next to everybody else's. I'm sure that would make the people who live in that area really happy. So to those who would like the really nice housing, the incredibly cheap housing, which we're only using just a bit of that, correct? What is it, 5% or 10%, which is affordable?
In what respect?
Of all the buildings you're going to put up, the places where people live and the new product that you're going to try and put in there, how much of that is actually affordable housing?
The ordinance that was introduced that you started to talk about is 100%.
100%. Okay. I guess my things of getting everything together in perspective is probably a little bit different. I won't go into that. So again, are we going to vote on this, the people of the township? No. Okay. So I, for one, am not really impressed with it. I live on Creek Road. There's a lot of traffic that goes through there every morning when people are going through to get on 295. It's a pre-access road to 295. And then when they come home in the afternoon, it's a post-access from 295. There's a lot of stuff that goes up and down that road. The road isn't wide enough. The road is old. The water, they just put new water in. Our electrical problems down that road, we lost electricity 4 times this last winter from storms. So it's not really a good place to have a whole bunch more buildings put up, drawing on the little minute electrical problems that we have right now. So that's what I have on that. And then the next one is really, this is wonderful. The electric parking spaces. Who's paying for that? I hope it's not the township. I don't have an electric vehicle.
Not yet.
Are you referring to ordinance 2021-14?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's not authorizing any purchasing. That is basically enacting the state's legislation on that. It's pretty much a cookie cutter piece of legislation that's mandated for us to follow, so we're just.
Okay, then I read it wrong because the very first word says authorizing and encouraging electric vehicle service and supply. So maybe I missed the part where you said it's not authorizing, where it says that it is on the statement.
Basically, what this does is it sets the framework for any new industry or commercial that comes in. The state is mandating that any new commercial, retail, warehousing, they have to install so many electric vehicle spaces and charging stations.
Okay, are those going to be right next to the gas pumps also?
I don't believe so. They're going to be at those places of employment because they're electrical, not gas. They're for electric cars.
And again, I'm just curious who's paying the bill for that.
Those developers and those builders.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name's Mike Dutcher. I live 106 Masons Woods Lane. This is about the ordinance 2021-13. As right now, I'm opposed to it, okay? I live right across the street from this. Jerry, you live up the street from us. I'd like to know, did the township already give this builder $275,000 to purchase this property? And then he only paid $75,000 for this property, and so he gets to make money for these 70 units, if I'm correct?
Well, Mike, so,
And if so, why wasn't this put out to the public bid on this for anybody, builder around, to get $275,000? Because I find a couple partners in here to put up $75,000.
well, you can't.
They get to
You
buy a
can't-
piece of
you can't-
property.
You can't do it, okay? First of all, I see Mr. Dickinson's out in the back. And during his tenure and my tenure, we not only, the state mandates that affordable housing be built. They dictate, they tell you.
Oh,
okay?
I agree with that.
Okay, now, let me just explain, because this is, I was gonna keep quiet, but when I hear stuff talked about, not you, that's untrue, I have to say something. So, when Mr. Dickinson and I were on the committee, we not only zoned for it, but we built round 1 and round 2. I don't know how many towns, John, have actually done it. Have 50%, 60% of the towns actually fulfilled round 1 and round 2?
Most of them.
85%.
Okay. So at the time we did it, we were one of the few, okay? And you see a lot of building going up, and a lot of it's affordable. To take and put, so we did it, and a lot of you don't even know where it is. Don't even know, okay? You ride around town, and you don't even know. So we did it, and it was hundreds of units, okay? So today, the affordable housing is turned into a business, okay? And to put 5 or 6 affordable housing there, here, there, and hide them, that's not the way it should be done, okay? Somebody has to manage the properties, okay? So what's happened is, builders go out and they compete for tax credits given out by the state, and it's not as many as you think. And they're for-profit companies. The one that the township had started a while ago, that is interested in doing the affordable, that doesn't even have his tax credits yet, as far as I know. They have to compete for them, and there's not a lot of them, so correct me, anybody can correct. But these are companies that go and put up, and I think the magic number, John, is around 70 units, and they keep them. They don't build them like this guy did over here at Creek Road, Davenport Village. You guys probably don't even know where it is. He built them.
And he's adding more over there right now.
Goodbye. Well, now, we're very lucky, that, and it's been a little bit of a problem, the development, for the town, for the police, for everybody, okay? There's been some mismanagement there. So these companies go out and do these projects and keep them. They don't get rid of them. So the individual that, you know, is interested in doing one here, again, doesn't have any tax credits from the state. I've been to 3 of his properties. I think Bruce said you went by one. I'm not gonna mention any names. And they're absolutely, probably gonna be one of the nicest developments in town. And I'm
Then let's put it in
only
your
comparing
backyard.
that, well, we actually do have townhouses going down the street from me, as far as I know, okay? So, yeah, that's always possible when you don't know, you know, when there's an empty
Let's get back to
lot.
my original question. Did this township give this builder $275,000 to purchase this property, and all he had to do was pay $75,000 for this property?
That was money out of the Affordable
No,
Housing
the
Trust.
township didn't pay, Mike.
Correct? Which is money that is put in from the
The
developers.
COA fund paid this, where every builder in town puts money into
Yeah.
an account. Then the township cut them a check for $275,000.
It doesn't
Is that
work.
correct?
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. When you build a building, you have to pay a certain percentage of the building, has to go into the COA fund. That, again, we didn't set it up. We just have to play by the rules. It's a state mandated fund, that goes for one thing and one thing only, and it's affordable housing. You can't spend it on anything
So you're
else.
saying the state paid this man?
No, no.
Again,
The
who paid this
developer-
gentleman?
The co-op fund gets a portion of any development that's done in this town or the next town or any town in New Jersey, a certain.
Was that open to any kind of other bidding out there, to any other builder?
Mr. Gillespie, perhaps you can explain
Yeah, maybe,
the way
I'm not making
that
any sense, so maybe, John's an
Yeah,
expert.
sometimes
Well,
You-
Paula
Yeah,
explained to me at a meeting
I'm
before that all these builders in town put money into a
He'll
fund.
try to explain it to you.
And I would like to know just who paid this to, the township wrote this guy a check,
No, it's not-
and all he had to do is pay $75,000 for this property, correct?
He did not pay $75,000. The purchase price, as I recall, it was $375,000. The developer put up $100,000, as the mayor said and Mr. McLaughlin said. We put up $275,000, and we hold a mortgage on the property. It is a loan. If the project doesn't get built, we get the money back. The $275,000 did not come out of taxpayer money. It came out of the Affordable Housing Trust
Affordable
Fund,
housing, yeah, that's
which
what
is
Paula-
exactly what its purpose is, right? It's an affordable housing developer. It's a very reputable affordable housing developer, as Mr. McLaughlin said. You can go by and see his projects, see what he does. It's they. And it's a very competitive process. They compete for what's called low-income housing tax credits through the New Jersey NJHMFA. If they never get the low-income housing tax credits, the development never occurs. But the township's contribution is $275, and it's secured by way of a mortgage and a mortgage note. The developer wasn't $75, but it was $100,000 that they put up. They went to closing. All of this was done in public. The township adopted resolutions authorizing A, the advancement of the monies, B, authorizing the mortgage and the mortgage note, and C, a resolution to amend our spending plan to specifically facilitate this contribution. You don't go out to publicly bid for affordable housing development. It's a quality.
Just got a question for you. Did you or your firm represent this company before? So they only had sole bid to this?
No. We don't represent the Waters Group.
Okay, and my only concern with this whole project is the transportation coming in there. A lot of the people here are bringing it up tonight, where if you did even 70 units there, and say 2 cars, that's 140 cars coming underneath that bridge every day. You know how many accidents we see every day at the 4-way stop sign right in front of Jerry's house? I see it every day. Or underneath the bridge, trying to peek around that bridge. Now, how are these people going to get public transportation? What, are we going to bring SEPTA buses all down these roads into this development and try to turn around down there? This is something we got to, take into consideration when you guys are going to approve this thing. And even though you are I guess now, our townships, and me included, we're all part owners of this thing. So we should take a lot of this into consideration when you approve this and say, okay, listen, let's, because affordable housing means that, it's lower income. And I bet you some of this is going to be low income, correct? A percentage of this.
A percentage of it will be moderate, a percentage of it will be low.
Exactly. And with that, they need transportation.
60,000 for a family of 4, if I'm not
80,000 in 2019, $80,000 was the median income for a family of 4.
And a single person was,
That's
what,
not-
65,000, right?
It's not a bad number.
It's not
Right.
really as affordable as you think.
Listen,
80,000 now.
I see what Morristown did to theirs, where they put it across the street from Costco, where they would have a bus stop right in front of the building there. All these townships are thinking about this. Now, we can't be not thinking there's other properties in town where it'd be more accessible for them for jobs, transportation, getting in and out of there easier. I mean, if you want to talk Creek Road, let's go to the place on the other side of Creek Road that they've been cleaning up forever now, on the corner. Wouldn't that be a perfect spot that the township owns also? That they got access up and down Route 38?
it's
It's
still
something to
being cleaned
consider.
up.
What's that?
It's still being cleaned up.
But it's something we should consider instead of, if you're putting moderate to low-income people here, okay? And they need public transportation, and we don't have it. It's not going to come down Creek Road. It's not going to fit underneath that bridge. So how else is it going to get around down there? Turn around in my neighborhood?
Well,
8 buses a day?
So I can say that one of the requirements for the low-income housing tax program is that the property needs to be within a half a mile of public transportation.
So are these people going to walk underneath that bridge every day?
So I can't answer that question, but I can say, based on what I see for
Or
Davenport.
are we gonna put a bus stop up at the corner of the four-way stop sign, right in front of Jerry's house?
Well, I suspect the mandated traffic study is going to disclose a lot of those concerns, and I know that the developer has been in this business for a very long time, and he would have never wanted to invest in a property where any of those issues were going to be a concern.
I think anybody would want to invest in some $100,000 if you've got 72 units, it's guaranteed money any day. I mean, I think that would be pretty good. I mean, I just think it's something to consider when it comes up to your board again, December 14th. Now I know all these people here have to go to this planning board meeting, okay, whenever that is, I guess it's the 4th, as I'm taking, December 4th is the planning board, and we got to bring up our concerns there as our next step, before we come back here again and have a public hearing again, because ultimately, what you told this other gentleman, it's you five up here to actually sit there and make your final judgment on this. Now, you think it's right for our township to have buses coming down that thing with young kids playing? It rests with you five up there.
I highly doubt, Mike, if there's gonna be buses coming down your street. I really do. I really do. I mean, I understand you're not happy about it, but, you know, this was something that was, you know, and it was started quite a while ago.
It could have been before your time or
And, well,
whatever.
you know, I'm on the committee, I'm part of the committee, I don't step out or stepping back.
Right.
Part of the committee, okay, I voted for it, so, but again, why not let, you know, there's obviously, there's concerns, the committee has concerns, I'm sure some of the planning board members who now will have a big say in what happens there, have concerns, and the residents should come out, and.
I fully agree with you. I think everybody on Creek Road, anybody in that development, even down Jerry Street, because somewhere, somehow, these buses got to come down, and all these 140 cars, if there's 2 cars per unit over there, you know, and
I got you.
they need transportation, so I don't know where they're going to go, and they're going to walk underneath that bridge?
I mean, quite frankly, Mike, the builder could have come in and sued us and got the development anyway. It's called a builder's remedy suit.
Well, also know they're building all
you
these
know,
factories in town. Wouldn't that be a better place?
Well, I don't necessarily, you know, think.
Warren Highway, being on Warren Highway where you have public transportation at.
But listen, you know, somebody has to have the property to sell and somebody has to buy it, okay?
Right.
We don't, you know, we don't do any of that, but like I said, this guy could have put this there anyway, sued us, because we don't have an area zone, and he could have done it anyway, so.
If I may also offer to have a conversation with the school district to see how they manage their school's transportation in terms of busing the kids. How do they manage navigating the bridge trellis, and maybe that can be part of our research.
They come right through my development every day.
And then they turn around and they go back out
Yes.
to.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So they're already doing it.
But we should definitely have that conversation to help frame the dialogue.
Well, and that was one of my concerns before I said yes to the zoning. That's really what this was the zoning, is that what you're saying makes sense, Mike, that, you know, having the bus go through that trestle, having people walk around there, it doesn't make any sense. So, you know, that's something that needs to be decided, and that's not what this is, right?
Right.
This
Well,
is not
this is the
decided.
next step of it, and it
So,
seems like it all is
yeah.
going to fall back to you. What I'm taking is, when this goes to the next meeting, which is the planning board, then he said it gets bounced back to you guys, and you guys make the final decision if we're going to zone it for that or not. Well, we could squash it right here on December 14th, and we could look for a better, more feasible place in this township. Do I think we need affordable housing? Yes, I do. But let's put it in the right place. Not in the middle of a development that there's no transportation, or turn the building around and let's come through the other way, through the parking lot on the other side where all the, you know, where they have it on the other side. I don't think there should be an opening coming off of Creek Road into this development.
That's a good point.
Well, we don't either.
Yeah.
So just take into consideration, I guess we got to go back and forth with this
No, we
and
don't either.
get more people up here to
It's
voice
not
their
going to
concern.
happen tomorrow.
But,
Well, looks like December 14th,
no, that's the,
That's
and then the
to
planning board
change
and
the
everything else.
zoning.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Kate Briner, 2202 Fostertown Road. I am jumping on his coattails with the same question. How is this going to impact the school? We have some classes that have 22 and 23 kids in it already. If you're saying that there's going to be families of 4 in here, that's 2 kids a unit, you're talking 140 kids. Is there going to be is this going to meet our quota and this is going to be it? Or are we still building on Martin Highway at the bypass also?
They're seniors.
They're going to be seniors
Those are
in both locations?
No.
Okay.
There's
so-
16 units in the one, and the seniors is the larger development.
Okay, so the one on the bypass is only 16 units?
No, the one on the bypass, closest to the bypass, is senior development. It's a
Right,
senior-
Davenport was authorized for 16 more units.
Right.
And the senior development Randolph Estates is 70 senior units.
Yeah.
And then we're at our quota?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
We don't
so
know what the grant
Are you
rate-
going to add on to the school? Are you going to build another school? I mean, that's
It's
like
not
$40
necessary
million.
at this time.
So how does that, it is necessary.
No, well-
Because
No,
if you're going to
it's-
bring all these people in, where are you going to
Yeah.
put them? They're going to have kids.
don't
You got a
have
second? You
children.
got a second? 'Cause- so, we've talked to the superintendent, because there's other developments, as you know, going up all over. And, we've had a lot more kids in the school than we do now. And
We
he
have
said-
565
he
kids
said-
in the
yeah,
school. The
we've
max
had-
that we've had is 700,
we've
so we're
had-
not too far down.
Right, so Jody said he can, I guess he's still, I haven't,
Yes.
He is.
last time I spoke to him, 150, 108. As a matter of fact, he asked for 'em. I need some more kids, okay? He needs some more kids. So, any more than that, you're right, I agree with you. But you can call him yourself and ask him. He's
I talk to
okay
him
with
every day.
150 max. He's,
Is the max.
Comfortable.
Or we're going to need to bring in trailers again like we did in the early 2000s.
well.
And that
I
wasn't
don't think we
conducive
have
for
that
a learning
many.
environment for anybody.
Yeah, these units, don't, we don't see that neither right now.
All right,
we
it's just
talked-
something that you need to think about,
No, we
because that's a
did.
lot.
Believe me, we do think
We did.
about that.
Huge
We
Yes.
did. We asked,
expense.
but we asked the right guy, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
We do ask, thank you.
I thought I saw another hand up behind you. Did you still want to?
Hi, I'm Eileen Dixie, 120 Mason Woods Lane. I've lived on Mason's Woods for 21 years, raised my kids there, and one concern I have, in addition to everything else, if we're going to have, like, say, another 140 kids living on Creek Road, my kids walked to Wawa, rode their bikes to Wawa. I know some kids ride across 38. I think if you have, our neighborhood's small, not a lot of kids. I can't imagine if we're gonna have, 140 kids in that neighborhood, we don't have a sidewalk really, and cars fly up and down that road, it's an accident waiting to happen, to me. I can't even imagine having that many people on that small road. I just can't. And then another question I have about, I'm just hearing about all this building going on. I know we have a threshold of population for the police department. We have our state troopers to take care of us. When are we going to need to get our own police department?
I'm not aware of a threshold,
No?
no. And if I also may address, so there's an assumption being made that it's 2 kids per unit that's going to be,
Well, if
right.
you don't know.
No, there is
but-
actually, it's
Right.
.78 is the formula, is an actual research
Point-
study, .78.
Okay,
Rutgers
so,
study.
Rucker study is the
Okay.
average number of children that
You're
are,
talking 49 kids.
I hate to say generated, but that are each unit, .78,
okay. But still, I just,
off the right
it's
number.
a lot of people, a lot more cars.
Points.
It's not a place for people
Right.
walking, biking. It's just not. So I just hope you'll keep that in consideration too.
Thank you.
Thanks. No, it's certainly a good concern when you're adding more people, more things, to look at walkways and those types of things, so, thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Hi, this is about the affordable housing lot.
Your name, please, and address?
Sure, Tracy Doherty, I live at 2723, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, Creek Road. I am directly next to that land. That is, we share property line.
Okay.
Basically, the same concerns that everybody else has had, traffic especially, the water, schools. it's not the affordable housing for me. For me, it's personally anything that just doesn't fit our neighborhood. We have traditional houses, ranchers, colonials, but to have this really modern-looking three-story buildings, just, I think, doesn't fit and will look weird. I've been there 12 years. Fun fact, my husband's grandparents built that house. My in-laws took it over, and then now we've taken it over. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous.
Right.
You're doing just
Take a
fine.
breath.
Just take a breath, seriously. Seriously, we've all been in this situation. Just take your time. You're good. You're making good points.
I couldn't tell from the photos. I don't know if you guys have seen the planograms or whatever. Do you know if it will be fenced, or will I have to try and find fence money, roughly?
When we spoke, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that there was going to be a lot of the mature trees and buffering, additional trees planted to buffer the area. So you're not going to see the building.
All right, I'm just concerned about
in your
fence,
face.
and my leftmost driveway, I'm worried about people turning in there thinking it's the house.
That they would have their own,
Yeah, just thinking that mine is part of that, which I'm.
right, that it would be,
But basically, everything else, everybody else said that traffic is real bad. I don't know if you've been on, obviously you live near
Yes.
that road, but from the bridge to the speed bumps,
Mm-hmm.
people love to speed up to the speed bumps. Then they'll slow down a little. So anyway, that's my comments. The meeting on the 14th, so it will be open to the public, and then you will vote like immediately after everybody's done speaking?
correct.
This is to zone.
This is
So we're
strictly
not
for
saying
zoning.
where the entrances are going to be and where, those types of things. It's
Correct, but if
just
you
the
don't
zoning,
want to
that's all
zone,
it is.
then the project's whatever. Okay, I would just ask, please take the time to really listen and think about the residents. If you get a chance, drive down that road at various times, because people are rated as crazy sometimes. The underpass at rush hours are really hard to get in and out of, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir? In the back?
Hello, my name is Charles Emery. I live in 110 Mason Woods Lane, right next to, across the street from where the zoning issue that we're speaking of, 2021-13. So I wanted to express some concerns that I have about it. Much of it is reiterating things that other residents have spoken about. I know you guys spoke briefly and mentioned ingress and egress for vehicles, but definitely in my mind, the bigger concern is ingress and egress for, or as big a concern is ingress and egress for pedestrians. My house happens to be the closest house to the train bridge in terms of we are immediately at the intersection of Mason Woods Lane and Creek Road. And my son and my brother and I have walked through that train bridge exactly once to go across Marne Highway to get to Creek Road. This was when my son was probably 9 or 10, and we never did it again because he almost got hit by a car. And it is absolutely not a safe place for pedestrians. There is no sidewalk, there is no crosswalk at that tunnel. There's no light at that tunnel, and it's immediately after a red light that's over at Rancocas Woods. If there are 72 families worth of people and they are low to moderate, income, absolutely, some of them are going to be thinking, you know what, I want to go to the bus stop that's across, from Pizza King or wherever it is. There's a couple of them right there on Marne Highway, and you're absolutely going to have. There's already been vehicle accidents at that intersection, several of them, and you're absolutely going to have somebody getting crushed by a car, a pedestrian. And in my mind, that is unacceptable. In everyone's mind, I imagine that is unacceptable. So that's my number one concern. Other concerns are when you have 72 new families, there are no playgrounds anywhere around our neighborhood. If you have 72 families worth of kids there, where are they going to play? If they're living in an apartment building, they're not going to have their own yard to put up their own, stuff to play on. The houses that are there right now, they do have at least a yard. You can put something in your yard. You can go out, you can, play ball in your backyard or whatever it is. Are they going to put in playgrounds? Are they going to put in sidewalks? Are they going to, is there going to be a light put in at the tunnel? And, how are they going to get pedestrians through the tunnel? Are they going to have to make something to go over it or under it, or, how's that going to work? Other things are, we have frequent power outages. How are they going to manage, having 72 more units where they need power? We only have Comcast in Mason's Woods. We don't have Verizon. How are they going to get, and we have frequent outages for that. Comcast, it's a shared service. You don't get your own dedicated line. So for every new resident, your speed for internet decreases for every customer that's sharing that Comcast bandwidth. Is there going to be enough water? How are they going to manage sewer? All those things. In addition to all of the concerns that were brought up by the other residents, which I agree with, including privacy. Right now, I think my house backs up to Creek Road, and there is what's the term? A buffer where I can't build
An easement.
An easement. Thank you. Where I can't build a fence along the back of my property because of the easement. And now we're going to have, potentially a 3-story, apartment building behind us. And we have a pool there. So we would like privacy for that pool if there's going to be a big, apartment building with people living in it. So that's pretty much it. There's other concerns, but I think I'll suffice it. I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else in the room that needs to make a comment? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Pat Pierce. I live at 2706 Creek Road for over 30 years. I'm wondering about the fire engine that we're going to have to buy and also have a new construction to put the fire engine in. Now, who pays for that and who buys that? Is that going to be on our taxes?
We need a new fire
I
truck.
would think we would need a new fire engine to
I-
reach up that high. I don't think we have one that reaches that high.
No, we have shared services.
We have shared services.
Mount Laurel.
What did you say?
We have shared services with Mount Laurel, Mount Holly.
Yeah, it's really a done deal, isn't it, actually?
Not really.
It's kind of like
Not
a
even
done
close.
deal.
No way.
Not hard.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Steve Parra. I live at 119 Mason Woods Lane for 21 years. How many stories are these units?
3,
3 stories?
yes.
What is that property zoned for right now?
R2? R1?
R1.
So that's single-family homes? What would the justification be to change that zoning now into multi-story apartments?
It was a request.
Okay, and then it has to be reviewed before the zoning board to grant that request? Okay.
No.
Not before the zoning board, but it has,
Planning board, well, it's joint land use board, but it would be a permitted use when it comes in sometime next year. If the ordinance passes, it'll come in next year for preliminary site plan approval.
Okay. I know at a previous meeting, we had talked about the affordable housing. If it's in the master plan, you can dictate where that affordable housing is. And I was told at a previous meeting that that was still to be submitted to the state. And I was wondering where that was or what happened to that. You said without that, basically, you can have anybody come in and just decide where they're going to put the affordable housing. You have no
Correct.
control over it if you
Correct.
don't have that master plan.
You can't build, it's just financially unfeasible for these developers to build affordable housing, as far as I know, without the tax credits.
Yes, but I mean, if you already have a master plan saying, okay, these are the zones where, these are the areas where you can put the affordable housing, then that directs those builders where they can put the housing. And the state can't come in and tell you, look, you can't do this.
Well, as far as I know, John, that's not true. The builder could still come in, right, John?
Yeah, we were going to be discussing that later on. in closed session as to how we're going to do this, but, so I'm happy to answer those questions during the public hearing, but not this evening.
Okay. All right, yeah, I have to reiterate the same concerns. It's going to put a huge amount of traffic on Creek Road, and then, like, I have probably 2 or 3 near misses under that bridge every week. It is, I don't know how you're going to fix that, because it's, I think by code, you cannot put a light in there because it's too close to the light at Creek and Marne. And I don't know, getting an access underneath that railroad is going to be impossible, I think, to put another access point in there underneath that railroad bridge, too.
I know that's a county road, and I saw in one of their predictions as part of their plan was to straighten out that access to there, where they would square it off somewhat. When they were planning on doing that, the county. I don't know, but I know I did see it in their master plan going forward.
Okay.
They were going to
It would
make
certainly help,
adjustments to that
but, yeah,
intersection.
you're still talking about going in through a little narrow tunnel.
Because that's not our road to make any changes to.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about as far as alleviating problems on Creek Road,
Right.
you know.
So that would help somewhat, and whether they could put a light or some kind of a, how they could work that out there, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I know I saw,
I've been told it's too close to the light on Creek Road. You can't put another light right in there. It's like, they're too close. There's an
Right.
ordinance about how far you can put them. So the other solution is going under the train bridge, or under that railroad track somewhere else, but I don't think the railroad company, they have right of way there. They're not going to allow that.
right.
So it just means that the traffic is going to be horrendous on Creek Road. So I'm just pointing this out because I'd like this to be brought up at the,
Right, but
the zoning board.
these obviously have been in our conversation, and
Okay, and
will
then
continue
also,
to be so.
as you mentioned too, just about getting a ladder truck in there to, I don't know how they're going to do that. Yeah, that needs to be considered also. As well as the sewer main that comes through there too would have to be upgraded and all torn up also. And I guess we'd bear the cost of that.
No,
No,
Okay, the builder would have to pay for that?
yes.
Okay, so and the water mains too and all that.
that's,
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room? Yes, sir. You. Mhm.
Hello, my name is Bob O'Donnell. I live at 103 Weatherhill Court in Masons Woods. Against the proposal to change the designation to H1 for the following reasons. As mentioned before, sort of the traffic and speeding is already bad on that part of Creek Road. More accidents will occur at these 2 entrances to our Mason Woods intersections. And of course, this will obviously decrease my safety on that road, but if you spend a week or two going up and down Creek Road, leave my development, going down through that train trestle and coming up, it's dangerous. I purchased my home back in 2000, so I've been there 21 years, and I was looking for a single-family dwelling type place to live, and I found it in Hainesport, and that's why I bought into Mason's Woods. And looking down Creek Road, I figured, well, this will always be like a single-family dwelling house. I wasn't looking to move towards, multifamily houses. I kind of want to have my own house, my own property, and kind of somewhat live alone on my little lot there. The addition of the multifamily dwelling units, you can see like what 3 stories looks like when you go down, as mentioned before, between Larchmont Boulevard and Hartford Road on Martin Highway in Mount Laurel. It's really huge. I don't know why it has to be actually 3 stories. If this were to go through, if there was a compromise with the developer that this be 2 stories and kind of somewhat match 2 stories that are in the development right across the street development that I live in right now. As mentioned before, that I think we kind of probably got this way because we didn't have a comprehensive plan of kind of how to integrate the affordable housing as far as Mount Laurel 2 decision, which came down, I think it was like 30 years ago, that you're forced into supplying the housing for those who have a low income when you have a town. So again, mentioned as far as the tower ladder. So I'm actually a retired fire chief in the Mount Laurel Fire Department as a volunteer. So ladder towers cost right now between $750,000 and $1 million. So you may find out later on that you need one. So it may not make it through plan and everything else, and finally you realize, thug, we need to get one, and the taxpayers will have to come up and foot that bill. And as far as shared services go, when you get a tap for a multifamily dwelling like this, it'll come out ladder first. So if Hainesport had a ladder, it'll say ladder 391. And that ladder comes out of the firehouse first because you're in a multifamily dwelling area. If you were in a single-family dwelling area, you'd send the engine out first, right? So we do have shared services. I realize that the first ladder comes out of my old station, Masonville, as far as 361, and probably get one out of Lumberton and one out of Mount Holly. Last question I have here is that, is the Bosniaks Club house area, is that going to be demolished too as far as planned? So they're going to be there. Okay. So I guess with kind of like eminent domaining and changing the designation of the, you called it what, is it residential R1 to AH1, how come you didn't eminent domain that club and take that over and then just add more or lessen the height of the dwellings to 2 stories and just take over that club through eminent domain?
It's the Bosniaks that were selling the property. We
Right.
had nothing to do with it.
Correct.
It's not a-
Right. Well, I guess the whole thing is, like, it kind of, like, opened up Pandora's box, right? So they went ahead and sold the property. It's kind of like, well, you still have the power to declare eminent domain on that club and take it over to go ahead and actually add either those 72 units and spread it out more as a lower height, or if push comes to shove and you don't need to do 72, you need to do 100, then you can then just stomp on them and then take the club over by eminent domain. Are you willing to do that?
To force the builder to build 100 units?
Well,
That would make your neighbors really happy.
well, listen, it's all on the table, you know, share the pain,
Well,
right?
as far as eminent domain is concerned, I don't think
like that.
anyone on this board is looking to
I've never heard of that being done in this
enact
town.
eminent
and,
domain.
I mean, it's a great idea to see if he would sell and maybe, like you said, spread it out a little bit, but the way this plans that are being tossed around, it's pushed back right now off
Right.
Creek Road.
Well,
I don't know why you necessarily want it.
Well, my point is this,
Right on Creek Road.
is that kind of like Pandora's box kind of got open here when the club sold off that land, right? So my whole thing is, I'm against all of it, right? Yeah, that's the whole thing, I'm against all this development. I realize that, to me, it's a single-family dwelling area, the whole entire land right there. So again, you know, safety is a major concern. I had my share of running fatal calls in my day, and it never gets any easier. But I tell you, it's a lot of people on that road can't handle it. And that intersection down by the train trestle, you're not gonna have Norfolk Southern bend and weave for you on that train trestle. They just got done redoing that bridge over Creek Road, like 2 years ago. They had to go to higher or rearrange that, they're not gonna do it, they're not gonna budge on that. You're gonna be stuck with that in the end. So again, I'm against the, you know, the change in the designation, I'm against the development. And I think you should really reconsider this, and I hope you would. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Anyone online?
There are 2 residents or 2 people online.
I have a question.
Yes. Please.
This is Chris Hurd, 111 Mason Woods Lane. And, I mean, I guess it's an easy question. I mean, I can go ahead and go through what all my neighbors kind of just said and reiterate all that, but I guess the question for the committee would be like, what makes this a good idea to you guys? There's so many things that are just wrong to put a property there. So from your guys' standpoint, what makes it a good spot to do something like this to the point that you guys would all vote yes to push it through?
Yeah, let's, pardon me?
Defer to your comments?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm going to defer my comments to another time.
You want to?
During committee comments this evening, right?
Right, it's,
Yeah.
we have committee comments this evening, so at that point in time, we'll address it.
So don't go anywhere.
Do you have any other questions?
No, that was it.
There's
Thank you.
another person online. I don't know if they have a question or a comment.
At the end of the meeting, we have the committee comments, so it's not another day, so
Right.
just to be clear.
Hearing no other comments, we'll close the comments. Comments from the administrator. Paula?
A few items to report on. Our 2022 municipal aid application with DOT for $498,000 to resurface Pulaski Avenue, Laurel Ridge Road, and Fenimore Road was approved for $185,000 of funding.
Nice.
These residential roadways were identified as being among those in need of repair based on the Street Logic's Pavement Condition Index. Creek Turn Park has not been forgotten. Our LSRP assigned to this project has submitted a grant application, did so at the end of October to DEP for HDSRF funding to conduct a preliminary assessment, site investigation, as well as site investigation report, completion of DEP forms, as well as a final case inventory document. This is the same funding that has fully paid for all of the remediation, I shouldn't say remediation, but all the investigations of the HITCO property. I do not know when NJDEP will respond to our request for funding, but based on experience, it could take up to a year. Sad news, unfortunately, we were not selected for the 2021 Green Acres Funding Award, which we requested $332,000 for improvements to the municipal complex park. As you may recall, it was to address some of the flooding issues that we have in the rear of the property, concession building improvements, specifically the restrooms upgrades, as well as some art infrastructure. DEP did receive a record number of applications, and they did not have the funding or the staff resources to fund all of these projects. The biggest factor for us falling below the ranking cutoff was that Hainesport is not located in or near an overburdened community. Environmental justice is central to the department's mission now. We also need to focus on additional new improvements to active or passive recreation facilities, as opposed to our focus being on improvements to the existing concession stand restrooms. So I will be asking the governing body when they open up the next round in 2022 if we can resubmit. And that's based on feedback from DEP, from Cecil Murphy. And then finally, I do want to just present to the committee as well as the public that I have been in conversations with the fire department over the last 2 years with regards to needing to upgrade our fire apparatus. In fact, myself as well as our 2 committee liaisons for the fire company, we are scheduled to meet Monday night at 5:30 with Chief Bozarth as well as President Challender. So this has been a conversation for the last couple of years. They are requesting an upgrade to their fire apparatus. This could potentially be a consolidation of 2 of their apparatus or a new truck. So, and that's been a couple years that they've been researching it and we've been communicating. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Comments from our solicitor, Mr. Gillespie.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to clarify something. The issue of what goes before the planning board in December, I think a gentleman said it's a hearing. You know, again, it's not a site plan hearing. The purpose of the referral under the statute, every land use amendment, just like the electrical vehicle charging ordinance, goes before the planning board for master plan consistency. It's their determination, and for looking at the master plan as to whether it's consistent. It's not a question of whether it's, the planning board doesn't get to say whether it's a good idea, a bad idea. They're not going to get into the ingress, egress issues. None of that's before them that evening. All right, so it's simply to determine whether or not the ordinance is consistent with the master plan, just like any other development ordinance that we've adopted over the years that goes to the planning board for their review and a determination of consistency. Every redevelopment ordinance that you've done in the last few years has gone to them for purposes of consistency, not to determine the standards, not to determine basins or driveways or parking variances or whether parking is sufficient, none of that. It's to determine whether or not the location of that use is consistent. And that's the extent of their review. It's not going to be, is there enough recreation? And by the way, just so, I think that question did come up, and again, the public doesn't have the benefit of the ordinance because it's just for introduction, it hasn't been made, but just so everyone knows, as to that question, by the way, there is a specific provision in the ordinance that indoor and outdoor amenities must be provided for the benefits of the residents. So, but even the planning board doesn't get into those issues on this referral, right?
That would be at a later
That
date.
would be down the road, and that would be the applicant coming in with a site plan application, and you would see where is everything laid out, where is the parking, what is the buffering going to look like along Creek Road, because that's going to be very significant, it's required, it's in here. So all of those things as to how it's going to look and how it's going to function will be in 2022. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, John.
Comments from the committee. Mr. Levinson?
I had the opportunity to attend, along with a number of the committee people, a Habitat for Humanity dedication of a home today. I just wanted to welcome the new family that we have, the Canatella family. It was very, very heartwarming and very emotional to hear what some of these people go through in order to acquire housing. I just want to say Habitat Humanity has done a wonderful job. The home is beautiful, it enhances our community, and we have a really wonderful family that's moved in there. The things that this poor lady has gone through, I think she would rather have taken a bath with a cat over and over again than to do everything she had to do to acquire this home. And again, I just want to welcome the family.
Thank you. Mr. McLaughlin?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody especially for your demeanor. I understand this is a very hot subject, and a lot of things have been brought to my attention that I hadn't actually thought about, and my brain is going a mile a minute right now with the issue, and it was just good to hear from everybody, and again, the demeanor was superb, and your point very well. They come across very well, and when the demeanor is like it was tonight, and like I said, I have a lot to think about.
Thank you.
Me? Yeah, I just want to talk about Creek Road, first of all. I live right down the street. I'm not impressed with it at all, but I look at my position here. If somebody brings it to you, you got to give them an opportunity. Frankly, I think there's a lot of hurdles, but that's not really for us to decide right now. That's going to be the way they present it and how they overcome those hurdles. So that's where I stand on this. So on a lighter note, the Habitat for Humanity thing was great today. Saturday, there's a toy drive on Warren Highway. Ron Capsettis starts at 11 o'clock. The toys all go to our township school needy families, and if there's any left over, then they distribute them into the other areas. I'll be there all day. I am looking forward to that, and
I'll be there.
yeah, and then
Where's that? Can you repeat that, Jerry? Where that is?
Ron Capsettis down by Aziz's restaurant on Warren Highway down by Creek Road. Yeah, so, but thank you all for coming out. So, And you're going to talk about the
Cannabis.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so just want to thank everybody for coming out and to echo your professionalism. I so get the emotion here, so thank you for keeping the lid on it and funneling it. The ideas, you live there, you're better at that area than we are. I mean, we all live in a town, we're a small town, but you know more, which is, so it's good to get these ideas, it's good to get a better understanding of that. I'm going to talk about cannabis in a minute, but I mean, it's the same thing. We're going around talking to people about what their thoughts are of having cannabis in Hainesport. It's legal in New Jersey, what are we going to do here? So it's good to talk to people and get ideas and understand these things. And again, I'm concerned about a lot of things in it too. So this is the zoning. It doesn't mean it's going to happen and the apartment's going to go up in January, right? So a lot has to take place. It's not done. To the young lady who asked that question, this is done already. It's not. They don't have the units yet. They don't have the credits yet. So a lot has to happen. I'm not trying to say it's not going to. I'm not trying to say it is. But I mean, a lot has to happen. But we need your ideas. We need to understand these things, and it will make us better. So thank you for that. I'd like to congratulate Jerry Klaus again for winning re-election. Jerry's done some tremendous things in Hainesport well before he even thought of serving on Township Committee. A lot of volunteer in Hainesport. He just doesn't do things for the state or the county. He does things in Hainesport well before he got here. So I'm very happy and proud to serve with him and happy he's re-elected. Habitat for Humanity, I was there as well. But it was just wonderful to be able to help that young woman and her family out, and it's a great house. It's super. It seems like a great neighborhood, and welcome to Hainesport, to the Canatella family. So cannabis, we had another cannabis committee meeting, and what we discussed this time was the retail possibilities. We reviewed the site map. We talked about having it in on a frontage on a highway, the state highway, which would be Route 38. We discussed the range of restrictive setbacks from the highway, from residential areas, from schools, and other types of things like that. We discussed hours of operation. We discussed that we were not interested in on-site consumption, no samples, taking care of trash, and limiting it to 2 retail outlets. And again, this does not mean that this is passed and this is what we're having, but this is the discussion that we've had. Again, so if you haven't talked to any of my colleagues here, would love to talk to you about what your opinion is on cannabis in Hainesport, whether it's wholesale, distributor, retailing it, growing it, cultivating it, or cultivating it and processing it. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I too would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and to congratulate Jerry on his re-election. I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Fun ride. I too have lived in Hainesport for a number of years and lived next to a vacant piece of property that they were going to build a 3-story building, townhomes with a flat roof with grass on it and goats to keep it down and all this other stuff, which directly affected me. And my other neighbors 1 block away is affordable housing also. And it turned out, due to circumstances with the real estate environment, the building never got built. Instead, they built the kidney and dialysis center there. And there were a few bumps in the road along the way with that because people's lights came into my kitchen window, and I sat at my kitchen window and waved to everybody coming and going. I felt like I was on display. But the trees grew, and time went by, and they grew some more, and now I don't see them out the window, and it's made, time goes by and life goes on, and we adapt. Am I still thrilled with the traffic that comes in and out of there and adds to, they make the wrong turn and come into my development and do, turnarounds with large trucks and speed and get lost in there, because we too do not have another way in or out of our development other than Route 38. But time goes by and we all get a little older and we all hope that the traffic situation will get better, but of course, more people are moving into the area, not just Hainesport, but the surrounding towns. And traffic increases, and so does the problems that go along with it. And we need to learn to adjust to it and hopefully make improvements. I'm looking to improve the traffic signal on Route 38 and Fostertown Road, but that's my problem. Hopefully, improvements will be made along the way with the traffic on Creek Road. I know that there was a time when people were coming out asking for a four-way stop sign, a three-way stop sign, a two-way stop, on Creek Road, where you were coming in and out because you felt that there was so much traffic there, you couldn't get in and out of the development in Mason's Woods. Perhaps where the entrance is to the affordable housing units, that creates another opportunity to perhaps improve that situation. I'm not saying it will, I don't know, but it's something that we can bring forth in the discussions going forward if and when the development happens. That being said, I want to thank Paula for her work on the New Jersey DOT municipal aid program. It was a highly competitive program, and we were selected to receive that $185,000. It was, I hope we have as good fortune as to obtain the sidewalks safety school grant that you just applied for. I too attended the Habitat for Humanity home dedication. You would have loved it, Anna. It's in the neighborhood. It took a piece of property that was dilapidated and only had a cinder block foundation on it for many years, I know of, and they built a lovely little home there, and it's a lovely little family, and she's a hard worker, and God bless them, and they're an asset to the community. Very proud to have been there. Along with Paula and Bruce and Ken and Jerry. It was a great opportunity. On 11 a.m. on Thursday, the Recreation Commission is having a Veterans Day luncheon for our veterans. I know several of the committee members plan to be there, and I'm just grateful that we're able to do that for our veterans. 10 a.m. on Friday is story time and crafts at the Street Community Center with a surprise guest, the Chick-fil-A cow. So if you know anyone that has children, 2.5, 5 years old, like to come, story time, crafts, and special guest this Friday, next Friday, the 19th, it's next Friday. So you have time to get them over there. On December the 3rd, which is also a Friday, at 6 p.m. is the annual parade and tree lighting with our special guests, Santa and Mrs. Claus. I believe you'll be providing transportation, Mr. McLaughlin?
Sure.
Thank you. And on 12/11, which is Saturday, from 12 to 3 p.m. is the annual gingerbread house contest at the Street Community Center. There'll be story time for the children and crafts. Light refreshments will be served. If you'd like to submit a gingerbread house, the application's on the website. It's a fun thing to do and good times to be had by all. December is also the house decorating contest. Please check the website for details. I know we had some great Halloween decorating winners, so get out there and show your stuff. The senior citizens meet on the second and the fourth Thursday of the month. They welcome all new guests to come, visit, spend some time, and hopefully you'll join them on a continual basis.
What is a senior citizen? What is the age nowadays for a senior citizen? Just since I'm 39.
55.
I catch them getting up there, I wanted to understand.
55,
55.
Gray
okay.
hair.
right at the cusp.
55.
It's when McDonald's asks you if you want your senior coffee. You're officially a senior citizen.
I'm 39.
Uh-huh,
Me
okay.
and Jack Benny, we're right there.
I'm gonna have to start going to McDonald's.
I would also like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And those that celebrate a happy Hanukkah, which is the 28th of this month. Yes, ma'am?
The train that runs down, behind all the house buildings talking about, do they have an ordinance of when they're allowed to start the train in the morning or not? Because that train starts at 4 in the morning. And it starts pounding and banging at 4 in the morning. Wakes everybody up in the whole neighborhood.
We have
Okay.
no ordinance that can come.
This-
This-
It's not supposed to start until 7 o'clock. It's been so loud.
The railroad she's talking about. Pardon?
You can't do an ordinance.
That's Conrail.
Yeah.
Oh, it has, the federal government has,
No, they have hours of operation.
Well, then this might be of concern. If it's, are you talking about in the industrial park where they actually loading the
For
trains?
the actual train.
All along there. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
we can't do anything about the actual railroad, because that's Conrail, or that's federal. But the spur, and they use the little jockey train.
And now they started at 4 in the morning, the train, and then the guy comes for the, emptying the trash truck comes around at 4:15 in the morning every Tuesday.
Okay.
And drops that dumpster on the ground so hard, I think everybody jumps out of bed. It's amazing.
okay, perhaps you can contact someone here at the building during work hours. This is not the time for public comment.
Yeah, just call me.
If you just call the township and ask Ms. Costco, okay? Thank you.
I'm gonna see, let's see what that is.
Okay. We now have some bills to pay, a long list of them.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second the motion?
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Mr. Levinson?
Yes.
Mr. Klaus?
Yes.
Mr. Montgomery?
Pay 'em.
Mayor Gilmore?
Yes. Executive session, Resolution 2021-139-11, to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Excuse me.
The topics are, one, attorney-client privilege and potential litigation is item number one, and number two is potential acquisition of property, and there are, as I understand it, there are two different matters involving that. Formal action, maybe, I don't know if formal action may be taken, but I doubt it, but what do you think, 45 minutes? Hour?
Okay, I need a motion to come back from executive session.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to authorize, what is it?
No, I'm just saying. Let me just make sure that we.
Klaus, Deputy Mayor, Paula, and I do the things that we're asked to do in closed session, and proceed accordingly would be in order.
So moved.
Can I get any vaguer than that?
Second.
That's as vague as you get.
Yep,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, who made the motion, please?
me, Ken,
I
second.
second.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Recording
Second.
Aye, all second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
10:36, it's a long meeting.
Wait a minute. Everybody knows about Angelo's?
Know anything about
Off or
Angelo's?
on?
Don't turn the mics off.